Hey guys, it's Ravi, and welcome to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. This is my podcast channel, and I'm so grateful to have created this, but also welcome. I will be shooting weekly content, and this podcast will have weekly episodes come out every single Monday. Now, why Monday, you may ask? Well, when I was in corporate world and I was working 9 to 5, which feels like a long time ago, I found that Monday was the most difficult to get through because it was the start of the week, but also I had spent time with friends and family doing what I enjoyed over the weekend. So with personal finance and with mindset, I thought on Mondays it would be ideal to bring out something that would provide you a bit more perspective as well as a little bit more motivation and purpose for your week ahead. So it's March 2021 and I decide, okay, I'm going to create a podcast. Why? And this is something that I've actually been wanting to do for a long time. And when I, created the YouTube channel, it was about education at scale, right? And I felt that, I started creating a community. We then have a private Facebook group and that community is growing. And so for me, it was very important to not just create content on some platforms. It was about leveraging that and creating it across multiple platforms. Because one, it's smart because what happens if tomorrow YouTube dies, then you always have a community somewhere else. But two, it was that not everyone spends their time on Facebook. Not everyone spends their time on YouTube. And some people actually prefer consuming this on the go in audio format. So I thought this just makes sense to create the podcast and have an audio version just stripped for the podcast channel, and of course still have the video content available on the YouTube channel. Now, going beyond that, me creating this podcast is just another way for me to connect with you guys and provide you another perspective on personal finance. And of course, none of this that I speak about is financial advice. However, what I talk about and educate you about is more than just finance. It's more than just best locations to buy for real estate, more than just, how to buy cryptocurrency. It's about mindset shifting, right? It's about understanding that money is not happiness. And a lot of people say it, but don't really understand it. What being wealthy means to me is very different to what most people think it is, right? And for me, it's not just about having as much money as possible, as much real estate as possible that you can show people and say, oh, look at me. It's about providing and having the ability to have choices later on in your life, and making small adjustments now makes a huge, huge difference later on with a compounding effect. So the YouTube channel is there, and there's more content coming out on the YouTube channel as part of my commitment. After Q1 has finished, I've gone, you know what? I need to bring out more content at scale purely because I need to help more people. As the community grows, I get more questions every day, right? More questions, more emails, more DMs. And for me, I'm not putting out enough content for you guys because I want to keep educating, especially during a time where there's so much uncertainty, right? And I say that with a smile on my face because with uncertainty comes opportunity. Where 99% of people will be confused and stick on the defensive, I want you to take accountability and be able to use that uncertainty as an opportunity to learn, but also go out there and action your goals, right? Go out there and actively attempt to learn something new, to go and invest in something new, and be able to learn in a different environment. What's really important for me is, yes, I have the agency that I run. So I run a buyer's agency. And of course, I have clients that come on board, but we are limited by how much we can take on. Because for me, my goal is not to be the number one buyer's agency in Australia where I've got 5,000 clients and I don't know the first names of people who come into my business. I want it to be very, very boutique where I'm able to have that connection with my clients. And that's why I'm not afraid to, let people know that I can't get you on board because we've limited how many people we can take on as clients. And that's purely a decision I've made, not because I want to make more money, right? That is exactly the opposite of what I'm doing. And a lot of money gets left on the table. Why I do that? Well, I'm here by choice, right? I've got a property portfolio and it's doing well. I invest across other asset classes as well. But I say this because I'm here by choice as much as you are, right? You don't need to be here. You're here because you actively want to learn something. You want to receive some sort of value and upgrade your mindset. And you feel like maybe listening to Ravi or watching his videos will allow me to have another step in the right direction. It might be just part of your research process. For me, it's sharing and being happy, sharing and educating is where I want to be, right? To create an agency and have it do really well, I'm very fortunate and very grateful that I'm in this position. But I feel like it's the value that I've provided you guys that has allowed me to be in that position. And I want to continue supporting you with free content and allow you to upgrade your own lives, whether that, means you invest in something or you're trying to actually sell some other assets that don't perform that well, and just rearrange your mindset to go, well, who am I actually looking at as idols? Who am I actually looking at in my social circles that provides me value? That's what we need to have the conversation about, where I say on my channel over time and time again, where I say, if you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with, right? Ask yourself, ask your 5 people that you hang out with, how many times has personal finance come up? Why is personal finance so taboo? And this is just another avenue for us to bridge that gap between personal finance being a taboo topic to, I can actually ask this question to my uncle or to my best friend and say, hey, you know what? You did really well in that business. Do you mind sharing how you did it? Or, hey, you bought that really nice car. How much did you buy it for? How much was it listed and did you negotiate? Or, hey, I'm actually going for this job and I don't really know how to interview well. You seem to have gotten a really nice, job a few times and you've made your way up the corporate ladder. Do you mind sharing a few tips? It just seems like everyone is out there obviously wanting help, but they're not going about it the right way. I remember as a child, as a kid, even in my teens, growing up, and it was like, oh, this is a really nice house that our uncle lives in. And it was like, no, you can't ask how much this is worth. You can't ask how much he bought it for. And, you can never ask someone how much they make. It's weird. It's a taboo topic. And I'm going, what do you mean? Like, my thing is that if you know someone in your network that is doing really well or is doing something that you would aspire to do, they are the best person to ask in terms of their advice and, how do I move forward in this sort of space? Because you seem to be knowing what you're doing. I need to, leverage my network. But because we're in such a defensive mindset, everyone's trying to hide and go, oh, no, I'm not going to tell my secrets. Oh, because then they're going to catch up to me or something. It's so competitive, but in the wrong way. When you actually realize and you burst that bubble and you come out of it, you realize the world's a big place. Even with real estate, right? There's just so many properties, so many locations that even if I came out here and said, hey, these are the best locations to buy in, it wouldn't do a disservice to me. It would be more of a disservice and ethically doesn't feel right for my clients who rely on me for that research to go, well, I'm paying you the big bucks to go out there, find the best properties for me. And it's not so much, well, if we increase the competition that we find ourselves in, well, my clients aren't getting the best deal, right? And so that's why I restrict from just saying those things. But it also goes beyond that because people have the shortest attention span ever, right? I'll be surprised if you're still watching this or listening to me right now, via the podcast, because people just want to get the main point and leave. And I totally get that. I respect that. I value your time. However, what are you doing with the other 10, 15 hours of your day? You're probably wasting that on Instagram and you're probably wasting that on Facebook doing shit all anyway. So if someone comes out, and whether that's me or whether that's someone else, I will continue to make long form content purely because I like providing context. Now there's people out there and I know you get value from it, right? If you're watching this and you're listening to it, however you're consuming this, you are out there and you're getting the context and that allows you to understand what I'm trying to say here. It's not so much, pick these places or do this and do that. And you take it as financial advice, which clearly it is not. It's more about educating. And unless you get the context, you're probably making the wrong decisions because it's not in line with what you want to do. It's not in line with your goals. It might not even be right fit for you. So the podcast, how it's going to be structured is a very free-flowing conversational type of content, and you'll obviously have the video content on the YouTube channel and the audio for the podcast player, but it will come out every single Monday. You know what? I'm going to bring this out and it will help at least one person, right? One person to get through to the end of their trip, to their workplace or wherever they're going, and to realize that there's more to this. right? We're not just going to work for the sake of going to work and then do this same shit that everyone else does for 40 years. I just want to make a difference in one person, right? If that means there's a small shift, might be 1% today, but after 100 episodes, we may get to some significant change in your life. And so that's where my commitment to this is, where I want to bring out content consistently at scale so that I can help more people than ever before. We have the strategy sessions, which you can book with the link in the description below. And that's where we go into a deeper dive into your strategy, your investment plans, and how we can assist as a buyer's agent. And then there's also the online course, Confusion to Clarity. This is a course that I've developed over the years, right? 7 years of investing and a lot more of researching. And I thought, you know what? There's nothing out there. And this is primarily why I think the YouTube channel is growing so quickly. I believe the podcast channel will also grow quickly. And we've got a great Facebook community as well of over 2,000 members. And the reason for that is because no one in the industry is going at scale with this information here in Australia. And the reason for that, well, I mean, return on investment for people is different. I'm not here to purely make money, right? Believe it or not, despite what the haters say, I'm not here because at the end of the day, I'm here by choice, just as much as you are, right? You're here to consume something, get something of value, take that as part of your day and continue moving along. For me, I'm here by choice purely because I have this inherent feeling, this inherent purpose that if I have the knowledge that can help even one person, it's a disservice to not be able to communicate that at scale so that I can reach those people. And speaking of reach, increasing the reach is very important because I want more people to hear about this. You know, if the YouTube algorithm doesn't plop my face onto your newsfeed, you do not discover me. And that's purely because people before you were able to like the video, were able to share the video with family and friends, and were able to subscribe and follow. I want you to do the same thing, right? And this is the only ask I have every episode is if you enjoy the content, just a review on the podcast or a comment down on the YouTube video means the world to me. Honestly, it means the world because it allows me to have the oxygen to keep going. And there's a reason why. March 2021, I start a podcast, a weekly podcast, in addition to more content on the YouTube channel because I've gotten the oxygen so far and I want to push this out to more Australians so that we can help each other. The pie is so big that people do not understand. Just by simply going out there and buying 1 or 2 properties doesn't mean you kill someone else's financial dream. Take accountability and actually go with what is happening right now. In this level of uncertainty, we have huge opportunity, and that opportunity will lead to only 1%, the 1% of the 1% to live a life of choice and financial freedom with early retirement. I truly believe that despite 99% of people watching my channel will not action anything, right? This is just, the feeling I get. I mean, it could be a lot more as a higher percentage because you've made it a choice to be here. But I know that just because I'm talking about it, just because you're listening and watching my videos every week and you're like, oh my God, everyone must be buying property and everyone's going financially free and passive income. I can tell you now, it's not the case. I jump on calls every single day. I speak to a lot of people outside of the calls as well. And I realize that what we are doing, what we are creating in this community together is very different to what is being traditionally taught around communities, around in our families as well. And people will continue to make those mistakes. And so this podcast is more about being able to connect with you guys and talk about some other topics that I don't really cover on the YouTube channel, but it allows me to have more access to you. And it would mean the world to me if you have enjoyed any of my content so far, that you subscribe and follow to the channel, of course, on the YouTube channel as well as the podcast, and provide me your feedback. If that is in the form of a comment on my YouTube videos or DMs on Instagram, then please do that. It means the world to me. I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks, guys.